Hi there. Welcome to today's Tuesday Talks Outside the Box with me, Lori Ramos Lemasters of Care Partners Resource and Consulting. If you've been watching my Tuesday Talks for a while, you might recognize that the last couple of months actually have been a little challenging for me health-wise. I've had a pretty bad cold that ended up with a cough that has remained, and recently I hurt my back. And when you're caring for a loved one, those are not uncommon things that happen. And unfortunately, we feel that we should still be the best caregiver ever, and we need to push our health issues aside and trudge on because for some reason, when we are caring for a loved one, that identity becomes who we are. Caregiver becomes our identity. If you think about it, if you run into someone at the grocery store that you haven't seen in a long time and they say how you're doing, the first thing you say is, I'm a caregiver. I'm caring for my loved one, which is truth and honest, and it is what you're doing, but it is not who you are. When I was caring for my parents, I forgot that I was still Lori. I was still the person who enjoyed writing and who enjoyed going to the movies, who is very social and loved to get together with my girlfriends, and who had recently become single and was sort of dating before I became this caregiver. And so I think it's so important that you remember your identity is still intact, or it should remain intact. You need to remember who you are and who you still are and what you still like to do, and try to remain that person and try to continue doing those things, because caregiving is what you're doing, definitely, and it is an overwhelming job that does require 100% of your thought and time, and can take all of that if you let it. But it's so important that you remain who you are as an individual and keep that little pieces of yourself every day and try to do something to remind yourself who you are and what you like to do and how you like to spend your time. Think of it like this. If you were at a job, which caregiving is a job, but if you're at your job and they give you all these tasks and all these responsibilities that you don't know how to do, typically you would stop them and say, hold on, boss, I've not been trained on this. I don't know how to do that. So can I get a little extra training, or can you send someone in to help me with this pile of work you gave me on this Friday afternoon, right? We would ask for help. And it's the same thing as a caregiver. When you're caring for a loved one, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to bring someone in. And it's okay to use the services that are available, because surprisingly enough, there really are a lot of services out there. We just have to dig to find them. But it's important to use those services so that you can remain who you were before you started caring for your loved ones. Still do the things you enjoy doing, and still be the parts of the person that you are, those parts of you that are starting to disappear. You need to bring them back and find them again, because you are caring for a loved one, which is amazing, and thank you for doing that. But you are also who you were before you started caring for your loved one, and that's so very important to maintain that identity. You are not a personal failure when you have to ask for help. That's a natural thing to do. If you had a job, you would ask for help when you were overwhelmed. And so this is part of a job that you're doing every day, and it's okay to ask for help and search for those resources. Google resources in your area. If your loved one has a specific disease that you're dealing with, maybe it's MS or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, or perhaps it's a child and your child has an intellectual disability or a physical disability, go directly to those sources, the agencies that handle those things, and they can tell you what resources are available to you. And you might be surprised if you can't financially afford it. A lot of times there are grants and different things in your area. So don't assume that there's no help, even just because you don't have the financial resources. You might be surprised. But please, please, please remember who you are, who you were before you started caring for your loved one, and who you are today, and reach out for help. Check out my Care Partners Resource and Consulting Facebook page tomorrow. I will have some journal writing tips for you to help you get comfortable with the process of asking for help and regaining your identity. In the meanwhile, take good care and check out my other Tuesday talks. Have a blessed day.